So, welcome, welcome, welcome to this masterclass, The Missing Piece. I'm so excited to share this wisdom with you that has really impacted my life so much, and I hope that you can take the most out of this. And to start this masterclass, I would invite you to take a comfortable seat. We're going to ground our energy to really be present and to get you started so you can have the most out of this. Hello, Delia. So nice to see you all. It's funny, when I started teaching online, no one had their camera on, and now almost everyone has their camera on, and I love it so much to see your faces. Okay, so if you found your seat, just close your eyes for a minute and become aware of what you brought into this masterclass today. Maybe there's the last few little movements that help you to really arrive in your body right now. And to become aware of what's moving inside of you. And sometimes that's not so easy to witness if we spend a lot of time in the outside world. So really drop into your body, allow the weight of your body to melt you down. And just take a moment to feel what's present for me right now. How do I feel in this moment? There's no good or bad. There's no judgment involved here. There's just an observing and becoming aware of what's moving inside of you. And then I invite you to place your left hand on your heart space and your right hand on your womb space underneath your navel. And we're going to take 5 breaths together into the belly first and then all the way up into the chest. I'm going to guide you through it. And I just want you to become aware if you can relax your belly fully or if it's kind of a resistance in your lower belly, if there's tension and it feels like you have to force it or there's no air arriving in your lower belly. Okay, so take a deep inhale into your right hand, into your lower belly. Then all the way up into your chest, fill your lungs, and then hold your breath at the top. Hold it here. And then open your mouth and just allow your breath to fall out, to sink even deeper into your seat, to arrive more and more in your beautiful body. Inhale into your right hand, into your lower belly as much as you can. And then all the way up into your chest, fill your whole upper body with air. And then hold your breath at the top. Open your mouth, relax side out. Deep inhale into your lower belly. Just become aware how this feels for you. Unfamiliar, all the way into your chest. And hold your breath at the top. And release. 2 more. Inhale into your belly. Expand this area. Allow it to soften all the way up into your chest. Hold your breath when you're completely full. And release. Relax your shoulders, your jaw. One last time. Deep, deep inhale into your belly. All the way to the top of your lungs and then hold it here. Make a sound, sigh it out, release. And allow yourself to really sink deep, to allow the weight of your body to melt you down, to feel safe in your body, to feel grounded and present. And if you could describe your feelings right now in one word, what would it be? And it can also be numbness if you don't feel anything right now. It can be that you're tired, excited, joyful, sad. Everything is welcome here in this space. And then slowly come back into your room or the beach or wherever you're sitting right now. Blink your eyes open. And then if you feel like sharing, I would love to know your feeling right now. If you want to write it in the chat. And I'm gonna share my screen with you. I hope I can do this. Okay, let's try this. Okay. So feeling safe, released and light, excited, whole, tense and safe, bit stressed but more relieved with this breathing exercise, present, tired but at peace, relaxed, very joyful and abundant, and so grateful. I love that. Tired, yes. Thank you so much for sharing. So, welcome again to this masterclass, The Missing Piece. And I hope that you really take the most out of it and that you can implement some of the tools that I'm sharing with you today and maybe some wisdom for your life, that it helps you on your journey, because we all know if you're here, you're on your spiritual journey and it's not always easy. Okay, so I'm going to share the structure with you for this masterclass, so you can surrender into this experience. There's one more sister joining. Hello, Sabine. First, I'm going to share a personal story with you, how I really got into the missing piece when it dropped into my whole being that there's something missing. And then I will share with you the missing piece or pieces so you can see the results that you desire. Also the mindset and energetics behind it, and the 8 steps that will get you there. And it's not you have to do these 8 steps and then you will live the life of your dreams for the rest of your life. In my experience, this healing journey is really an unfolding process, and there's always more layers and more blind spots and more things to come up. But as you grow, you will learn how to hold yourself in it. And that's what it's all about. And at the end, if you feel like staying, I will share my new offer with you. And I have a special gift, many special gifts for you, if you feel you're really ready to do the work that is necessary. Okay. So we all know how we feel right now. So I would like to invite you to take another moment to ask yourself, where in your life do you feel you're living out of alignment right now? So maybe it's your relationship, maybe it's your job, the country you live in, your friends, something where you feel you've outgrown your current situation and you're not really, maybe you're honest, but you didn't take the steps yet, and you kind of stay stuck in a situation that might be comfortable, that might be familiar. Where in your life are you not living in alignment right now? And if you feel like sharing it, I would love to hear it, because most of us are stuck in the same areas, but no one talks about it. So this is really the space to get the masks down job. Yes. And this is a big one because most of us spend so many years creating a career that we thought we wanted, and we spent money and time and energy and years of creating that, and then suddenly we feel it's not in alignment anymore. And that can bring up a lot of fear and a lot of existential fear, especially. Professional space, country, my home city, living near to my family. Yes, I received your message today. I loved it. My job, I can't find something to do, don't want to study anymore, and can't find any job that could make me happy. Yes. Thank you for sharing. So for most of you, it's either the job, the country, or the love life. Relationship freedom. I lost nearly 5 years of my life because of my relationship. So relationship. And that's also what we're going to dive into a little bit, that you look at your own story a little bit different. So you don't see it as something you lost. You lost 5 years of your life, but what's the wisdom you gained and what's the clarity you gained around that? I have the feeling that I'm stuck, but I'm not sure in what area or maybe where to begin. Yes, that's also sometimes the case, that you just know something has to move, but you don't know where to start. Country where I live in, relationships. I think relationships is the biggest one. Not be seen, making my body a priority. Yes, related to my mother, as you said in your TikTok. Yes, we're going to dive into all of that. So thank you so much for your openness and for sharing. And ignore the words. I just write them down if I lose what I wanted to share. My brain sometimes goes to wild places. So just listen to the words that I'm sharing. And I will share a story with you about my relationships that made me realize there is a missing piece. There's something really not working here, and I can't blame it on all the men that are entering my life. And I think the relationships we have are the biggest wake-up call, if we allow to look at it and not to run away from what's really underneath that. So I had a relationship that was really like the biggest soulmate connection for many, many years. We lived together, and I really saw myself marrying this man. And from one day to the other, it was already tensing up, but we both weren't in a position where we could openly talk about it. If you're here, you might also feel like this, or you grew up like this, because I attract a lot of women that had the same story, that you grew up in a household where your emotions were not seen or heard, and you were left alone with your emotions, or where you were just sent to your room, or you could be happy and the shiny sunshine kid, but you could never show anger and frustration and sadness. And so you learned to shut these emotions down. And I was in this for most of my life. And then we didn't talk about what was going on, but we could both feel there's something not working here. We didn't have sex anymore for months, and there was still this deep soul attraction, this deep soul connection, but there was no attraction. And we were both basically just wounded kids living together and not being able to communicate because we were so afraid. And then from one day to the other, it was midnight. It was 2 days before my final exam of being a school teacher, and that's the most important exam in the whole 6 years of studying this. He came home from a restaurant and he said, well, you wanted to talk. I don't want to have sex with you anymore, but I have the desire to sleep with many more women. And this was like, it really went through my body, but I couldn't feel it. I just had the urge to leave because I had no access to my anger, to my frustration, to my sadness. I just felt like a volcano, and I left. It was midnight. I took my toothbrush and I went into the stormy rain in Munich on my scooter, had no idea where to go. I just needed to get out. It was the only way I could handle my anger, by running away. And I didn't feel this pain of this moment until 1.5 years later. And instead of really going into it, of course, I was suffering. There was this whole moving out and yeah, the sadness that arose, but I never went into the pain of what this breakup meant to me, what it really meant on a heart and soul level, because I was so good at just holding it together and making my life work and to function, and it just kept on going. And I ran right into the next relationship. And in the beginning, it felt like a man picks me up from the bottom onto his horse and we ride into the sunset. It was magical in the beginning. And in the end, it turned out to be a very narcissistic, abusive, emotional abusive relationship. And when I decided to leave, that's the actual story that I want to share. I remember this day so well. I was in Munich on the river, sitting 30 degrees sunshine at summer. We had a yoga studio together, and I realized what was going on. I realized the manipulation. I realized how he tried to dim my light, all the things that I tried to talk me out of it, and even questioned my own sanity. Like, I thought I'm going crazy and my reality is not the real one anymore. I was not trusting my intuition. And then there was this moment where my boundaries were crossed so much that I knew I had to leave this man. And my intuition was clear from the beginning, but I thought, no, everything's perfect. He's doing all the things. It's so nice. And we had this yoga studio together. And I knew if I really take the decision to leave, he's never going to pay me. I'm losing my baby where I put my heart and soul into it. But in this moment, crying on the river in Munich on the most beautiful day, I just promised to myself, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And how did it even come so far that I feel like shit, did I allow someone to treat me like this? How did I get here? Like, I was a happy child. I didn't have any trauma in my childhood. I thought, what's going on? Like, why am I struggling so much in my relationships? And then I really draw the line. I broke up. I never saw a cent of the countless hours I worked in the studio. I found myself feeling so worthless, so unlovable. I always had the feeling, if I'm a glass, I crushed into a million pieces, and I had no idea who I was anymore. I felt not a single spark of aliveness in my body. And I also stopped teaching yoga, which was a huge passion of mine. And for a year, I was in a really dark place, and I made a promise to myself, I'm not going to jump into the next relationship. I'm going to look why I feel like this, and not like, why did this happen to me, but why did I allow this? Why was my level of self-love and self-worth so low that I couldn't speak my truth, that I couldn't share my heart, that I was so afraid of being abandoned that I couldn't tell what was going on inside of me. I really wanted to know what's going on. So I stayed single for 4.5 years, and it took me on the most incredible, adventurous healing journey around the world, where I unraveled layer by layer, and I'm still unraveling and shedding the layers. But I came to the core of why I couldn't feel this love. And I shared this in my on my social media the other day, that most of my wounds were related to the relationship to my parents and the way I grew up. And especially if you had a mother that didn't love herself, that maybe gave you love, but didn't know how to love herself, that always put everyone's needs in front of hers, it's like a role model, and you adapt that subconsciously. You either reject your mom or you take it on. And both of those are not really healthy. And that's why healing the mother wound has been my healing journey for the last 10 years almost, to dive into the core wound of why I'm so afraid of being abandoned, of why I can't share my heart, why I'm so disconnected from my emotions. And the breakup I was sharing before, the first breakup with the love of my life, I thought, I only felt these emotions 1.5 years later, when I already left my second abusive relationship. And I was doing my yoga teacher training in Costa Rica. That's like 4 or 5 years ago. And I remember in the morning meditation, I was sitting there at 7 a.m. like we always did. And suddenly it felt like a frozen candle that melted. And I just started crying. And I couldn't even cry silently like I normally can. It was a really painful sobbing. So I went out of the meditation class and went to the ocean in Costa Rica, and I I just couldn't stop crying, and I could feel all the sadness, the frustration, the anger coming up of this breakup, of this moment where we never talked about after until last year, when he said he doesn't want to sleep with me, but with many other women. And this was basically our breakup conversation. And it all came out, and I just couldn't stop. It came out and it came out and it came out, and it was still stored in my body. And even if we think sometimes we let go of things and we already released it, the body still holds on to this pain if we never felt it. And if something is too painful in the moment because our nervous system doesn't feel safe, then we freeze, and we freeze these emotions in our body, and especially in our lower body. And so these emotions came out, and I could finally release that after 1.5 years. And sometimes we store these emotions for decades. My granddad was in war, and when the day before I left to Morea, he shared a story of how the bombs in Dresden came down, and he had dust everywhere and had to run and lost his family, and like the huge trauma. When he shared the story, I could feel it was still stored in his body. Tears were rolling for the first time in his life because he never had the privilege to work on that trauma. It's been passed down for generations, and I can still feel this existential fear and this holding on and this false sense of safety from the outside with money and things. I had to work a lot through this. And if we don't work through this, we will pass it on to the next generations. And I think we live in a time right now where we have the privilege to do the work, to release these emotions out of our body, so we can really, create a new world that is more in harmony with truth, and not, in a destroying, harming way for everyone, because we never look at our wounds. So when I did the work, and I'm going to dive into all the steps and everything later, but it was really what I needed to not run around with an empty cup of water, of love. I always use the picture of a glass that's empty with a hole on the bottom. So I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't feel worthy of love. I didn't feel even, I didn't have a sense of self-worth in this world. So I was running around trying to get it from men all the time. I was running around accepting a tiny sip of water of love because it felt better than nothing, because I didn't know how to put water in this glass. And of course, sometimes there's a man that pulls a lot of water and we feel alive and amazing. And then after some time, this water comes out and we feel even worse than before. And that's exactly why it doesn't work like this in the long term. We have to learn how to source ourselves from within, to feel whole from within, so we don't find ourselves crashed into a million pieces all the time, find ourselves in friendships that don't value us, that use us, that are one-sided, where we always give but don't receive. And that's that has led me on this huge adventure where right now I can really honor my body and feel what's underneath. When I have an emotion coming up, I still don't feel it right away all the time, but I know the tools how to get it up easier, so I can feel and release them and not carry them all the time in my body with all this tension and tightness. And I really listen to my body. I honor my intuition. I would have canceled this masterclass if I would have been on my moon today. I really honor my cycle, my intuition, my body. I stay true to myself and I choose me. I feel worthy of doing that. But it was quite a journey to get there. And I'm able to speak my truth now. I don't hide it anymore. I'm not afraid of being abandoned, because I know if everything falls away, I have me and I can hold myself in it. So I don't stay in relationships any longer that don't serve me, that don't feel true to me. I'm honoring my emotions. I used to only honor my joy and my happiness, and I was running away from my anger and my sadness. I didn't even know how to access my anger for years. And all the things I mentioned before. I have boundaries. That was a huge thing. I didn't know what boundaries were. Not at all. And I can hold myself in it. That was the best, the biggest part to learn. And to become my own best friend and lover, and not to look for love and validation all the time around me. So what's the missing piece to all of this? And maybe you've been on your spiritual journey, you do yoga, you read all the books, you do self-care, you take bubble baths, you take a facial, you listen to the podcasts, you even have affirmations, you tried manifestations, you maybe even had an Akashic record. And maybe you're even aware of your trauma or the stuck emotions, but you don't know how to access them. Maybe you understand your patterns, but they still show up. For example, after my narcissistic relationship, I thought, okay, now I'm going to trust that the man that I'm supposed to be with is going to come into my world and I don't have to control anything. And my mind really, from my mind, I really wanted that. But because I still was carrying these wounds, I couldn't trust. I still wanted to control, and I would swipe my way on Tinder to bed, having so many dates that were horrible. Like I thought I wanted something, but my body still carried these wounds. So I saw myself in these patterns that I knew weren't healthy, but I couldn't stop them. So the missing piece to all of this is especially what I already dived a little bit into. It's your conditioning, what you took on from your environment, what you believed to be true from how you grew up, from how you experienced life. It's your shadows, and that's a huge piece. I was running away from my own darkness my whole life. I was so afraid of the darkness inside of me. I knew there was darkness, but I always clinged on to the light and the goodness and the joy and the happiness. And if there was heavy emotions or even things I rejected on me, being jealous or the things we don't want to accept that it's also part of us, it's like shutting it off and pretending it's not there. But in reality, those things have power over us if we don't invite them in, if we always try to get back into high vibe, if these feelings arise. It's also about your wounded masculine and feminine energy. So every one of us has masculine and feminine energy, and you can be the most feminine woman on the outside. I was always wearing beautiful dresses and makeup, and I looked very feminine. Even the way I moved was feminine, but the way my energy, you can't fake your energy. I wasn't able to receive. I didn't know how to open, to trust, because I was hurt so much in the past that I repeated these patterns over and over again. And I thought I was in my masculine, but I was actually operating my life from my wounded masculine. I didn't know how to hold myself in my emotions. I didn't know how to have structure. I was just floating through life like a, I can't find a picture right now, but I think you know what I mean. And I also had a lot of false identities, and maybe that relates to you too, that you think, oh, I'm just this good girl, I'm just a people pleaser, that's how I am. But actually it's conditioning. You had to be like this to receive love. You had to be like this to cover over your fear of abandonment. You thought if you always give, people can't leave you. And yeah, that's a very interesting and very important topic. So maybe you have patterns and false identities you're not even aware of. They run the show subconsciously, but you don't know that they are there. Maybe there's also an abandoned inner child. So sometimes when we feel triggered, it's not us being triggered, it's our wounded inner child. There's memories from the past that never have been felt and never had the parent and they never had someone to take care of them the way they needed it. And that's the thing about trauma. We don't necessarily have to have an abuse or war to have trauma in our bodies. It can simply be, and that's the work I'm sharing the most because I've been through this, if you grew up and your needs haven't been met, especially around your emotions, because your parents didn't know how to be with their emotions too, because this pattern has been passed down for generations, then you find yourself struggling with your emotions, to connect to your emotions, to feel safe, to feel them, to come up, to allow them to come up and to share from an authentic place. You will have troubles with that in your life. And it's most of the time connected to your inner child that doesn't feel safe, that doesn't feel it can share the emotions. And there's also another deep side, your primal essence. I work a lot with healing and also embodiment practices and sexual energy, because our sexual energy is the most powerful energy in this universe. We can create life with our sexual energy. So we can also use it to heal, to create, to manifest. And all of us have a kinky side. And with kinky, I don't mean that you have a fantasy to get tied up and spanked in a dark room. That can be, but maybe your kinky side, you have the desire to be touched with a feather, to be blindfolded, to experience, but you can't share this with your partner because it doesn't feel safe. So this is what comes up if we work with these deeper emotions. So suddenly you can, explore your sexuality in a completely different way, and also to feel safe, to feel sensual in your body, to experience the present moment with everything that arises. Not only the pleasure, but also the hard stuff. There's also a lot of limitations. And like I said, trauma, shame, guilt, fear. Fear is a big one too. And Meg O'Sullivan used this metaphor the other day, and I loved it so much that I'm going to work with an example so you can really see or understand the missing piece a little bit better. So sometimes, like the moment on the river where I said, okay, no more, I'm going to leave this man and I'm going to be ready for my soulmate. I'm going to invite my soulmate. Sometimes we have these moments like, I'm going to move to that place. I'm going to start my own business. I'm done with working for someone else. I really want to bring my gifts into the world. We're like, whoa, let's go. I'm going to drive to that mountain. I can see it already. My soulmate is waiting. I'm ready. And we really think that. And then what happens? All the shit comes up that's not in alignment with where you want to go, because you don't attract what you want. You attract who you are and what you need to evolve. That's why most manifestations don't work. If the distance between what you want and what you are is too big, then first, to get where you want, all the shit comes up. All the things you've been suppressing, all the feelings of being not good enough, and the voice in your head kicks in and it says, you're not good, pretty, smart enough for this man. If there's a man that you really feel like there could be a connection, the fear comes up. There's these voices that say he's going to leave you anyway, so you don't open up, you only take one foot in. You're going to end up alone, so you accept the man that's not your soulmate, but you're afraid, oh, hey. Hey, Lily. You're afraid to end up alone, so you stay out of comfort and to not feel this fear of being alone. Everyone's going to see you fail. This was a big one when I started my business, that I was so afraid of people that know me, see me failing and that it doesn't work out, and to put myself out there to be seen. This was huge for me, and maybe you can relate to that too. And or the money, the existential fear that's also in our lower bodies. No one is going to pay you. You're going to end homeless. Was a huge one for me when I left my teaching job, that I couldn't make it work. And that's just the fear in your mind. So the fear, the doubts, the worries, the shame, the guilt, even from if your surroundings don't accept your path because you're changing. And what happens is that your inner child, the wounded part, takes over if you listen to that voice and you're not aware you're operating from that. And then like the car, the little girl, is there someone joining? Takes over your wheel and turns around and say, okay, bye. I don't want it anymore. It's good. And that's why this healing work is so necessary, to get you there and to not stop when the first thing comes up, that you say, see, it wasn't for me, I tried. And then you have two options. Either you close down and you self-sabotage. You say, I didn't want it anyway. It's okay. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good alone. I don't want this. So you shut down your desires. You're not honest to yourself anymore. Or you have a gripping energy, like, oh, I'm only whole if I have this. So many people showing up in my program that I'm launching. I'm only worthy if my dream man comes, if I have a man. You want it so bad that you have a cringy energy. And you can start to believe this fear and doubt and to stop and to go back to a safe job, to settle into a relationship you're not fulfilled, to stay in a country, to move back to a country, because you don't face the things that are coming up that are in reality an invitation. So you run, you hide, and you push these feelings away. And then your girl runs the show and goes back down, says, okay, I'm good, I don't need it, I'm safe here. Or you have a second option, to stay present, even if you can't see the results yet. And this is the work. This is the work to trust the version that you want to become, even if you can't see it yet. When I arrived in Montreal, I really thought my cleanse home retreat that I launched a few times before would go up. I had 29 women in there, and when I arrived, I had 1 woman signing up. And my whole existential fear came up, and I thought, I'm gonna die on this island, I'm not gonna survive, what did I do? Like, the fear really paralyzed me almost. And my mind would have said, oh, hold on to the money you have left so you can survive. But I knew deep in my soul, I need support right now. And I was dreaming of a coach, and I invested the next day, I invested 6,000 euros in a business coach. This was almost all of the money I had left, and it didn't make sense. But it was exactly what I needed to get me to the next level of expansion. And I could only do this by trusting this little spark inside of me that believes in the vision that I hold, that believes in the version that I know I can create, that I saw the woman that I'm stepping into, even if I couldn't see it yet. In that moment, it felt like I'm walking through the desert looking for water, and there's no water. And I just needed to trust that if I invest, it's like hopping on a camel and I can get there faster. And it paid off tenfold. Every time I did something that didn't make sense, but I trusted my intuition, it always paid off. So staying open and present, even if you can't see yet, and meeting these paths, trusting your vision. So not operating from your shoulders up and trying to figure everything out with your head, but to go into your body and to feel this pain that never had the chance to come out, to meet this little girl, to love her, to trust your own vision, to see and to hear the things that are laying underneath. Most of the time, it's not what we think we're afraid of. There's something much deeper that's connected to our childhood. And it's time to listen to that and to reparent, to give the love and the nurturing to yourself that you never received. And that doesn't mean your parents are bad people. I believe they always did the best they could with what they knew and what they had. But sometimes it wasn't enough for what we needed. And that's why we create these patterns and we take on these beliefs. We're not good enough, we're not worthy, and we run around with these empty cups trying to fill it from the outside. And it's a huge part to love and accept them as part of you, and not to shut them down, because you cannot be whole and sourced from within if you shut these parts down. Also, to stay open in your desires. This is a big one. And I had this just the other day. I had a neck injury and I was laying horizontal for a week, and I just had a breakup a few weeks ago. I chose to break up because it didn't feel aligned anymore. That's a huge story, but I really could feel it. I shared it in my last full moon ceremony, and I could shut down and say, oh, it's okay, I'm good on my own. And I am good on my own. I feel whole, but these last few days I could really feel this desire within my heart, and not from a needy place, but from an open heart space, that I am longing to create a family, that I'm ready for the real deal. And sometimes we need to go through all these other relationships and jobs and things and situations to see what we really want. And that's why 5 years, if you've always also been in an abusive relationship, you didn't lose them. It helped you to gain clarity on what it is that you want, on how you want to feel, to finally see your worth. And the moment, maybe you feel like this too, when you shattered into a million pieces, you have no idea who you are anymore. You can put these pieces together and use gold to make it into something new, even more beautiful than before. And it also, the second option means that you show up vulnerable. It's so easy to shut down Oops, there's someone coming in. It's easy to shut down if there's fear coming up of being abandoned, but to, even if your voice is shaking, to share what's moving inside of you is so important, especially in relationships and friendships. And to not see it as something, see, I have fear now, the voice was right, even if we fail sometimes, like the yoga studio, when I lost it, this was my plan B for leaving my teacher job. And then when I lost it, I thought, okay, it's not for me. I tried it. Maybe it's not my path. Maybe I'm supposed to be a teacher for the rest of my life. And I stayed in there for a few months, but then I realized my vision is bigger than this. And even if I could say I failed, but what it really was, it showed me how to love myself. It taught me so much about business. I had no idea. It taught me what it is that I want to call in. So I don't see it as something that happened to me, but it happened for me because I grew so much. I gained so much wisdom from this relationship that I wouldn't like to miss it. Like I don't know if I would choose it again, but right now I'm in a place where I can see the blessings of it, why it had to happen, because my level of self-love and self-worth was so low. I had no idea. And so see it as a portal for your desires instead of something like, okay, I tried it, it's not for me. See, this is the proof I'm not meant to do this. To see it as a portal of choosing you and for these desires to come up and to say, I still want it. I believe in it. Even if I can't see it right now, I still stay open because I know my desire to be true in my soul, in my heart. I know I deserve it and I know I can get there. Even if it's a bumpy road, I will get there. And who are you choosing to be in these moments? How do you show up? Do you shut down, shut your truth? Or can you stay open with tears running down your face saying, this really hurt me. You crossed a boundary here. Who are you being in this moment is the most essential part on this journey. So everything that comes up along the way is really an invitation for you, and it doesn't try to stop you. It's normal that this shit comes up because otherwise you would already have what you desire. Always, if you want the next level of expansion and you invite something bigger in your life, it's normal that these fears come up. And instead of pushing it away and running it from it away and blaming yourself that there's something wrong, that you feel this way, to meet these parts with love and compassion. This is what can really change the game for you the next time you feel like this, and to hold space for it, to sit with it, to hear your little girl, to see it, to love it, and to invite these parts in that you're denying and rejecting about yourself. And especially if you look at other women or at other people and something triggers you, you're judging them. Oh my God, this girl is dancing like a slut. There's a desire underneath that. There's something inside of you that wants that, but it shuts it down because you don't allow yourself to really go there. So how can you integrate and heal these parts that feel icky, that you just want to use your protection mechanisms and run away and hide and to numb yourself, to distract yourself, and to sit with it? This is really the key to come into wholeness. Also to prepare your body, your nervous system, and to release it by feel it and not by shutting it off, because this only leads to suppression and disconnection. I think we've all been there. So the energetics and mindset behind this, and this is why I love to work with polarity work, with sexual energy, with the magnetism behind it. If you try to manifest something from a place of lack, because you feel you need the man to feel whole, you need that validation from your job to feel worthy, if you feel this story happened to you and you're so poor and the world is against you and everything is so hard, if you blame other people for why you feel because he did that, I feel like this now. I blamed my mother for decades because she wasn't there for me emotionally. I attract these partners now and I'm in these horrible situations, when in reality it was just an invitation and my responsibility to take ownership of my own wounds. It's not her responsibility for how I feel. It's my responsibility, and it's yours as well. And if you have guilt and fear and shame and neediness, you can't attract what you want. You will attract more partners that bring that shit up to heal for you. It repels the things you truly desire because it's not a magnet for you. It's not a vibrational match for what you want. So instead of operating from lack and victimhood and blame and guilt and fear and shame, you come into your feminine magnetism. And that's why I'm so passionate about working with women, because if we come into our wholeness, into our true feminine power, if we allow our aliveness, our sexual energy to flow through our body, if you come into a place where you can close the hole of this glass and pour the love for yourself from within, if you know how to self-source and not to look for it from the outside, that's when you become a magnet for your desires. If you can surrender and trust and open, that's when you can really call the things in. And most of the time there's a lot of deep inner healing work necessary, because we can't think our way into magnetism. It's an energy and we can't fake that. You have to be willing to do the work and to look at the pieces within yourself that you've been running away the most, to come into wholeness and to come into your feminine power and magnetism. And that's when you come into soul alignment, when you don't allow your mind to run the show, your inner child, your wounds to run your life, but to feel safe enough to be you. And this used to trigger me. If people said, just be yourself on dates, just be yourself, they will fall in love with you. If you didn't feel safe as a child to express all of you, to express your anger, to express your sadness, and you've been adapting and a people pleaser, and you've been hiding parts of yourself, you don't know how it feels like to show all of you, because it doesn't feel safe. You have to create a lot of safety in your body and your nervous system to be able to show all of you, to shine your light, even if you enter a room and women are like looking up and down at you and you feel them, you make them feel uncomfortable. And I used to dim my light for so many years. I used to enter a room and already like hide myself so I don't get these looks from women. And now I really own my light. I know it triggers people, but it also inspires people to also shine their light, because this is the biggest gift we can do in this world, to shine our light and to share our magic with the world, to show all of us. No one wants a perfect box-shaped figure of you, even if your family wanted you to fit in this box. My grandparents, they think I'm in a cult and I'm brainwashed because I don't fit into the version they had in their minds for my life. They really think I'm crazy. But for me, it feels so good and so true to be all of me and to speak my truth and to share from my heart and to feel worthy of a life that I truly desire. So feeling safe to be you and to show all of you is a journey if you never learned how to do that. It's an embodied presence and sensuality. So you can be with whatever comes up in every situation, and to feel safe to be sensual, to feel the juicy mango in your mouth when you eat it, to feel the wind on your skin, to allow a sunset to tear you up because you can feel the beauty of this place. Trusting yourself in life, feeling empowered in your decisions. That's also so big. If you're not in your power, you can't take empowered decisions. That's when you float around and wait until shit hits the fan, even because you don't want to take responsibility and you don't want to take ownership of these things. And soul alignment also means to be connected to your emotions in every moment, or at least when you feel ready for them, to speak your truth and to trust your body and intuition. This is what soul alignment means for me, and this is what I devoted my life to, and I'm devoting it over and over again. So the 8 steps, how to get there. And this is not after these 8 steps, you're forever healed and you're forever you never have to face a shadow or a wounded part of yourself again. This only means that these steps will get you to learn the tools, how you can hold yourself in it over and over again in this never-ending unfolding healing journey. And these are also the 8 steps that we will go through in the 8 modules of my new offer that I'm going to share at the end of you. So even if you don't join, it's good to know these steps, and maybe you're already in the future, maybe you're already living them. But these were really the key elements for me to embody it, and not only to think I want this, but to really take action on them and to show up like the woman I wanted to become. Okay, so first of all, the most important step is claiming your desires, to become very honest with yourself and to communicate it with clarity and vulnerability. So like the example with the man, if you think, oh, I'm independent and I can do it all on my own, this longing in your heart, if it doesn't come from a needy place, it's a very feminine energy to have a longing in your heart and in your soul. Like the longing for me to have a family doesn't come from, I need this to be whole. I know I could live my life without, but I really desire it from my most authentic heart space. When I see baby girls, I always knew I'm going to have a daughter. I know I'm becoming ready for her. And to get more lit up about what you want than how other people perceive you. And that's a huge thing, that we give so much power to what other people think and what they want us to be and what they want us to do, that we have to learn to stay in our power and in our desires and to become vulnerable with it. And yeah, to feel the shame, to feel the conditioning and control, to not know all the answers. This path cannot be walked by control. Sometimes there's areas in your life or time periods where you have not a single clue what's coming next, and you feel lost and you don't know what's going to happen next, and you so desperately want to know, but you have to surrender into the void, into the not knowing and not having, and still holding your desire. And it's going to be a journey through your body. So we're not going to do things with your mind. This is a healing and embodiment journey. And if you want to create the life of your dreams, of your deepest soul desires, you have to get into your body. There's no quantum leaping around that. You need to get into your body. And the first step to be able to even access these emotions is to create safety in your body. And this comes down to the healthy balance between your inner masculine and the inner feminine. And we all have these parts. The inner masculine is the container in us, so we can feel safe to open and hold ourselves in the emotions. So the masculine is the container, the structure, the safety harbor. And our feminine then feels safe to open and to surrender and to feel, to flow. And most of us don't have a healthy inner union of our masculine and feminine part. It also means to trust yourself and life and something bigger. And especially if you have a mother wound like me, I didn't grow up being able to trust. I had to learn this. I had a lot of existential fear in my body. I had to feel like I'm a burden. I'm not wanted in this world. I have to hide. My needs don't matter. And it takes a journey through your body to really feel safe in your body and to trust yourself and to feel the trust. You can't trust life if you don't trust yourself. You can't trust that the man is going to come if you don't feel it in your body, that you are also whole without it. And it also means to release these stagnant emotions. And we're not gonna, in these 3 months, we're gonna release a lot of stagnant emotions, and you're gonna meet deeper layers than you are aware of right now, probably. But you're not gonna release all of your emotions because, like I said, it's an unraveling journey, but you will know how to hold yourself in it. First, I will be your safe harbor for you to feel these emotions, and then you will learn how to hold yourself in it for the rest of your life. So there's going to be a lot of inner child healing. We're going to work on your worthiness, your self-love, a lot of shadow work. And also we're going to connect to your womb and the mystery. And that was also something I was disconnected from many, many years, most of my life. And then the third step is embodied sensuality. And this is connected to your second chakra, your sacral chakra. This is the center of your creativity, of your sexuality. And I've always had a lot of energy in this space, but I dimmed it because it was too much for so many, and it was triggering, and I wanted to fit in and to be liked and to be accepted. So I dimmed this, and now I'm really embodying my sensuality and celebrating it and shining my light unapologetically. And this allows my creativity to flow, my sensuality to be expressed in my movements, in the way I speak, in the way I live my life in every single moment. And that doesn't mean that I'm always creative and sensual. I have moments where I feel completely disconnected, but you know how to get back into your body and to allow this energy to flow because you feel safe in your body to express yourself. So it means also, we're going to go a little bit over, like 15 minutes. I hope that's okay. You're going to reclaim your pleasure. We are so blocked from our pleasure, many of us, that it's time to unlock this area in your body and to surrender and to let go and to release the shame, the guilt, the conditioning, and to nurture the relationship with yourself. And here we're going to work a lot with your sexual energy. There's going to be a yoni or a jade egg practice, a mirror work, so you can connect to your yoni, to your womb, to yourself, to your soul, and not just live your life from the mind. There's going to be embodiment practices that you can implement in your everyday life. In each module, you will have this devotion work that I call little practices, little embodiment practices for every day to practice. So you can really drop into this. And then you're going to awaken your inner power. So you see, we move the body up. It's our Manipura chakra above your navel. And this is all about reclaiming your power, to bring the power back into your body, to release the cords between everyone and everything around you that takes away your power, that takes away your energy. This is also about expressing your anger. And this is also related to the lower chakras, but especially you can't be in your power if you can't access your anger. And I thought for 30 years, I'm not an angry person, but it was just because I didn't know how to access it and to express it in a healthy way. You also will learn how to protect your energy, and this is something you really need to become aware if you're an empath. It's like an octopus that has the tentacles with everyone else and knows exactly what everyone is feeling, but you don't protect your energy. You take on so much stuff from the people around you, and it manifests in your body. So we have to learn how to protect our energy, to be in our power and to stay in there. And the main piece for this is, again, a strong inner masculine. And that's going to be an amazing ritual that I can't wait to share with you. It's also connected to your confidence and worthiness, the way you show up in this world, the way you take empowered decisions. You can't take empowered decisions if you're not in your power. Then you're going to float around, hide, and wait until things fall into place, because you feel afraid of the responsibility. But if you have a strong inner masculine, you know what's true for you, and you can take these decisions and stay strong within yourself. And there's also a lot of embodiment practices with sound, movement, and breath, and a ritual in this module. Then one of my favorite topics, self-sourcing, and this is connected to your heart, the cup. How do you learn to pour love into yourself? I always heard that, give love to yourself, and I had no idea what that meant. I'm like, I know how to please everyone, but I don't know how to, I don't even know what my needs are, what I need. I don't know, because I always had my tentacles outside. I never knew what it means to really give myself what I need. And before you can access that, you have to de-armor your heart, to shed the layers around your heart that were there to protect you, but that, you're ready to crack open, to open your heart again. And this is also, in this module, we're going to dive into the art of receiving. How can you open? And this is feminine energy in its essence. When you look at sex in nature, the feminine receives, it opens. But if we try to control and if we try to hold on, we cannot receive. And that's how you also learn to give to yourself. And there's a lot of forgiveness part, why we created these armors around our heart. It means to forgive yourself and others, to be with your emotions, to learn to hold yourself in all of them, and not to shut down and to run away and you numb and distract yourself. And to also be vulnerable with you, but to learn to be vulnerable with others in your friendships, in your family, in your relationships, to share from your heart, even if there's fear you could lose them, even if there's fear you could be abandoned, which is also a very existential fear, but you going to be so full and overflowing so you can give from an overflowing cup and not be afraid if things fall out of your life, you know it's for something bigger. It's sometimes these things have to fall out of your life so you can come back into alignment and attract the things out of magnetism that are a match for you and that don't harm you. So what feels like a loss sometimes, I've lost so many friends on this journey, and by looking back, it's actually a win. But of course, it's painful in these moments. And also to allow yourself to be seen and heard. There's going to be a sharing circle, an integration part at the end of each module to really allow yourself to be seen in your mess, in your emotions. This was so healing for me because I never had a place to share. I never thought there's anyone in the world talking about these things. And the art of staying open in your heart, especially when it's easy to close or to run, when things don't work out the way you want, when someone rejects you by setting a boundary, how can you stay open and not shut down? So this is all about the heart and self-sourcing. And then this is probably the most powerful one. When we work through the body, you feel safe, you feel your creative energy already moving up, you feel in your power with an open heart, and then we're gonna go into the authentic expression which goes to your throat. And there we're gonna have a beautiful woman, Andrea Nicolas. She's a specialist in voice activations and also the yoni throat connections. And if you see a picture from your vocal cords and your yoni, they have exactly the same shape and they're always connected. If you're aware of it, you're not, or not. If you hold tension in one of them, there's tension in the other. And by activating the yoni throat connection, you can learn to express your voice. I was shutting down my voice for so many years. And now I'm really learning to use my voice by speaking, but also I'm so passionate about music, and this was my biggest block for many years because I thought I don't have a beautiful voice and I can't sing because someone in my childhood told me that. I was carrying that and I was so afraid to sing in front of people. But I also know how freeing it is, and Andrea is gonna guide us through a powerful voice activation ritual, and she will connect you to your voice. You will use your voice so you can use it in the world to use your full expression. And I had so many blocks in my throat, especially when I was teaching, when I was channeling, and I was too afraid to speak it. I had so many blocks that had to be released, and singing was the key for me to really open my voice and speaking my truth and to release the shame around it. And this is also connected to the bedroom. Since I activated my voice, I think there's so much shame around the sounds we make in the bedroom, the moaning, and we most of the time just in our heart expression, the very high moaning, but there's also very deep moanings that can activate the G-spot orgasm and your cervical orgasms, and that can give you so many waves of pleasure. And there's, yeah, the voice has a much deeper frequency, and when you release that, that's when the pleasure can flow, and it cannot be released if you have shame around it. If you feel like, oh my God, this sounds weird in your head again, but to allow to take your body, to allow to your body to take over. And this changes so much with your self-pleasure practice and your partner or future partner. And then the 7th step is trust and surrender. And I refer to your third eye chakra when you start not only listening, but also trusting your intuition, honoring your body and your needs, choosing you, opening to get penetrated by life. So even if you don't see the results yet, see it as a foreplay. Sophie Josefina talked about this in my latest podcast interview, and I loved the image of seeing it as a foreplay if you can't see it yet, to wait to get penetrated by it. It's like when you're so turned on and your partner stops pleasuring you and you're like, oh my God, I want it even more now. This is how you can create your life, to not see it as like, oh my God, it's not here, I'm not worthy, I knew it won't work, but to see like, okay, it's not here yet, I want it even more now. So this is where we tap into the polarity work, into embodying your feminine, into receiving an openness. And you're going to get a lot of self-pleasure practices that you can use whenever you want, that can help you through the body to surrender, because we cannot trust and surrender from our mind. You can't think your way to an orgasm. You can't think your way to trusting someone. It goes through the body and through consciously letting go and through opening. And the last step is devotion. So we're gonna find daily practices that nourish you and that give you excitement for your daily practice. Because sometimes we think we have to meditate an hour a day, otherwise we are not a spiritual person. And this is so not true. I think it's a devotion to a daily connection that feels good in your body. And this is where we also gonna dive into sex magic, where you can use your sexual energy for your manifestations. And this is the video for my program. So I want you to just feel into that, to just watch it before I share more about it. So this is the vibe of this program that's coming. So the name of the program is Soul Aligned, and this really came through my soul. And I know these 3 months are gonna be life-changing. Thank you. It's a 3 months healing and embodiment journey to create the life of your deepest desires. So you already learned the 8 modules that we're gonna dive into, and we start on the 25th of September for our opening ceremony on the full moon. And we're almost gonna spend the rest of the year together. So this is for the powerful, courageous woman who wants nothing more but a life that feels good. So if you're ready to create a life that doesn't necessarily look good on the outside, but that feels good at every cell of your being, if you're done limiting your pleasure and authenticity, and you're ready to do the work, then this is your program. So if you're ready to live in harmony with your body, mind, heart, and soul, if you find yourself in the same patterns and the limiting thoughts over and over again, even if you thought you already know all the things, if you're feeling disconnected from your emotions and sensuality and creativity more often than you would like, if you spend more time in your head than in your body and worry a lot about what other people think of you, if you're yearning to be more feminine in your flow and to receive more pleasure in your everyday life, then this is your program. So imagine you feel safe in your body to speak your truth. And I'm not going to go into all of this because we already covered it. To shine your light, to source yourself from within, and to share from a place of overflow. Embody your sensuality and divine feminine power with confidence to accept all of you, not only the shiny parts, to be deeply connected to your body and intuition, and to know exactly what's true for you. So you don't look for validation and opinions outside of yourself all the time, but you become your own guru. And I don't like the word guru, but you become your own guide on your journey. And if you're ready to feel confident in who you truly are and not the conditioned version of you, and to show it to the world because it's so needed right now, then you're ready to create a life that is in alignment with your body and soul. So we're going to meet 8 times for 90 minutes for our healing and embodiment sessions. There's going to be a group chat always available for you. And this is like the gold. This is worth so much if you're in your shadow and you're in this shit and everything comes up and you have a group of women that goes through the same, that you see you're not alone, is really priceless. Like, this is so nourishing and healing. And you will get 12 months access. So I have a lot of bonuses for those who already feel you're ready for the next 24 hours. Some of them will stay after, but the price will go up and some bonuses won't remain. So if you sign up and you feel it in your body, I won't send the link to anyone. I want you to come to me if you feel this, you're ready for this, because I want to know if we are a perfect match for each other. This is not where you receive a link and you just pay. I want to know if we can get you where you want to be. And I gift you a free one-on-one session with me on top, and a 1,000 euro discount. The price will go up in the next, after these 24 hours. You also get my Rise with Purpose home retreat, which is worth 555 euros and can already get you so much further on your journey of gaining clarity on your purpose and your next action steps. Also, this Thursday, I'm going to guide a live full moon ceremony. You're invited to this. And something magical will be sent to your home. And I can't wait to introduce the artist of this work right now, because this has been a dream and it manifested so quickly. And we haven't met yet, but Julia is with us right now. She lives in Tahiti and she created something so magical that I would love for you to hear and to see, because this is really a dream coming true. We haven't really talked about how it looks, but it's so aligned and it's exactly what this is all about. It's becoming the version of you that you know you're meant to be here. And Julia, if you can unmute yourself and share a little bit about it, I would love for you.
Yes, I can. It's true that we haven't met in real life, but I can't wait to go back to home to Tahiti for us to meet. And it was a very pleasure to create this journal for you and for the Soul Aligned community, because I feel like I do believe that art can carry a lot of energy and that it can be transmuted. So if it can bring more inspiration, if it can bring open heart for anybody to write in this journal, then it will be a success.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you very soon. Next week you're coming, right?
Yes.
Okay, the gardener is about to start. I'm gonna finish. This is the sign. So this will be sent to your home, and I'm so excited. This will be sent to everyone who's joining, so even after the 24 hours. And the investment in yourself, if you're ready for this journey, is 1,222 euros, but only for the next 24 hours. The price goes up to 1,444. This is my official early bird price. So if you feel you really want to be part of this, send me a message on Instagram or email within the next 24 hours to save all these juicy bonuses and to share a little bit about your vision, where you're at in your life right now and where you desire to be, what you're struggling with, what came up for you during this masterclass. And thank you so much for being here, for being in the space, for sharing your energy. And if you feel into it. What did you take out of it? What was new for you? What was something that opened your eyes that you take out of this masterclass before we close the circle? Can be one word, one sentence. What was something you took out of these little bit more than 60 minutes? Be reminded who I was and who I want to be again. Yes. A lot of Bestätigung in my intuition. Yes. Authentic expression sounds magic. Yeah, we have so many blocks in our voice, and even if we want to express ourselves authentically, we have to work through these. And this is a magical journey, that we're not alone on this journey. Yes. Beautiful reminder to be in our soul and body and not be stuck in a lack mindset. It was magical. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Everything is possible. Full abundance. Yes. Pleasure is possible again. Yes. And this is huge, especially if we feel completely disconnected from experiencing pleasure. We think this is not possible, but it really is for every single woman. Every time I listen to you, my heart pounds. Oh, allowing and opening to be penetrated by life. Yes. To go more into the body. Thank you, Tanya. I felt your energy and now I feel it in me again. I love you all so much. Thank you for listening, for staying, for receiving, for being present. And yeah, I can't wait to guide this journey. I really feel called to do this work with those who are ready. To not feel alone. Many beautiful souls are going through that. Yes, totally. Oh, I appreciate you more than I can express. I love you all. Okay, I'm gonna close because the garden is going a bit crazy outside. And I see you very soon. I would love to hear, even if you're not joining, send me a message if anything comes up. And bye bye.